Alright, y'all, it's time for another card reading. Get it? Because I'm in the car. Okay, no. I figured out the reason why I couldn't get the nice crystals is because I was using the friggin' selfie camera. So, this time, we're going to do the same thing. I have 3 crystals here. I'm going to show them each to you. You guys are going to pick the one that calls to you, and then I'm going to pick one, and then we'll go from there. So, the first one that I have for you today is this really pretty fire quartz. Look at all those rainbows. I love this one. It's a little fire quartz. Okay. Fire quartz. The next one that we've got is a clear quartz. This one's got some little tourmaline bits in it, which I think is adorable. It's like a little face. Okay. Clear quartz. And then I only have 3 for you today, so the last one is this really pretty sardonyx that I have. It's almost like it's got a face too. All my crystals have faces, I guess. Okay. So the fire quartz, clear quartz, sardonyx. Got your pick in your head? I am going to choose the clear quartz. So if you also chose the clear quartz, this reading is going to resonate with you. If you didn't choose the clear quartz, you can still stick around. It just might not resonate as strongly with you. We've got everything all set up. You chose the clear quartz, so we're going to go ahead and get started with that reading. They wanted me to start with the tarot deck today. They said, we want to talk about people. Okay, that makes sense. We've got the Justice card. We've got the Chariot. Okay, and we've got the High Priestess. They wanted me to do one more. Okay, and the Sun. Okay. So the Sun, the High Priestess, and the Chariot were all in reverse, and then we've got the Justice card over here kind of hanging out by itself. I'm immediately hearing maternal, and that there's a lot of issues with your mom, with the feminine side, not feminine, but with your mom side of the family, essentially. They said, don't worry, we know dad has issues too, but mom's issues are the ones that are making it difficult for you to move forward and to find happiness. That's why we've got this Sun in reverse over here. A lot of you are looking for things to be made right. You're looking for this balance. You're looking for acknowledgement. You're looking for apologies. And your guides want to gently let you know that that's not going to come. It's not, because mom can't forgive herself right now. At some point, there's a painful realization of all of the mistakes that you made, and some people can own that and grow and accept that everybody's shitty sometimes and that's just how it is. But some people cannot accept that. Your mom and her family line have come from a lot of generations of people not holding themselves accountable. And they said, we're sorry that it had to fall on your shoulders, but you are going to be one of the first generations that's going to be able to come forward and say, yep, I messed up. I definitely shouldn't have done that. I didn't know any better. I was just learning. Can we talk about this? Can we figure this out? They want you to find power in that. You have been taught, and your mom and everybody before her and her family line has been taught to feel shame when they do something wrong. You're supposed to feel shame when you mess up. You're supposed to feel shame when somebody comes to you and says, hey, you made this mistake, instead of feeling power in it. And so, unfortunately, that was passed on to you, but because you have the knowingness that you have, there's this other part of you that's like, okay, I know I was taught to feel shame for this, but at the same time, I want to make it right. You have this strong sense of justice, the strong sense of morality, and there's this desire for you when you do something wrong by somebody else to figure it out. You know you can't go back in time and stop yourself from doing the thing that was hurtful to this other person, but you know that going forward, that if you talk about it and you try to understand it, and then feelings aren't going to be as hurt, and you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to know what to do so that this doesn't happen again. you know that hiding from the issue isn't going to fix the issue. And so there's kind of like this, they told me that there are 2 wolves of battle inside of me. They did it sarcastically, but literally there are 2 battles going on in you right now, because there's the way that you were taught to do it, which is automatic defensiveness. I never did that. Gaslighting for days. But then there's the part of you that knows what's right in your heart, and you know, I need to talk about this. We need to figure this out. Spirit is saying you need to slow with this. Go really, really slow, okay? Knowing what's right and knowing how to pursue the path towards that, especially when you've had no guidance, can be really, really difficult. So they're really asking you to go really slow with this. Take your time. Ask for help. You know, if you've been feeling like you maybe wanted to get in touch with like a therapist or a counselor or something like that, Spirit's really encouraging you to get that person in your chapter, because having somebody like that you can bounce ideas off of and get ideas from on how to deal with this is going to be very valuable to you. They said, once again, it's something that your mom never did, because there was shame around it. There was shame around asking for help. There was shame around admitting that you needed help. So they said, be prepared for people to not understand why you're doing what you do. They said that's another aspect as to why this is so difficult, is because it's going to be you. A lot of the people that you have looked to for support, they're not going to necessarily understand this path. They're not going to understand this journey that you're taking, because, ooh, rude. Because honestly, they never thought that you would have the strength to do it. They never thought that you would be the kind of person who would say, no, you guys couldn't make this work, but I know in my heart that this isn't right, so I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do what all of you couldn't do, and I'm not going to let your little stabs and jibs and all of that get me down. I will just cut you off. You're literally at the point where you're like, I can't handle this anymore. I know what I need to do, so hang out and watch me win, or I don't know, leave. I could care less. They said it's in the best way possible, though. And they said, don't be scared, though. They said for a while they're going to try to pressure you to give up. They're going to try to pressure you to revert. But in the end, they're going to see how far you've risen. They're going to see the strength that you have because you fought these battles that they have always been too scared to fight. And there's going to be a curiosity in them. They said some of it will learn it in this life. Some of them will carry it into the next life. But you're planting seeds for them to grow. So inadvertently, you're going to help them, but you're going to be there for yourself first. Well, we've got clearing and activating, and then we've got light codes that just came out. Clearing and activating, this card came out while we were talking about cutting those ties. Energetically, if you have people that are sending all of that crap your way, it's harder to get out from underneath of it. So Spirit is also, they're asking you to do grounding techniques. They're asking you to do visualization techniques, as far as like visualizing protection around you, however that is that you do it. You know, the bubble, angels, light. They're asking you to like visualize light coming out of your body and just kind of making its own protective field just by emanating from you. They said, you guys are really powerful people. That's why you're here as the generational curse breakers, because it takes a powerful person to do this, because you literally are alienated. You're really alienated with this, and it takes a strong person to be able to be alone in these kinds of things. So don't underestimate your power as you go through this. That's another reason why they've got this light code card that came out here, because as you move through these layers, there's going to be a lot more downloads that are going to come through for you. And when I say downloads, it's more just like levels of awareness that are going to come to you. You're going to start understanding more into, oh, okay, this is why this person does this, or okay, that's why this is a family tradition. Like, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come forward where you're going to understand them a lot more, just because you're seeking understanding. Oh, beautiful. Unfurling a new beginning. Both of these cards that just came out are like, don't forget your crown, queen. Literally, okay? So as you go through this, and it's got dragonflies all over it, which the dragonflies this year, holy cow. Okay, but back to this. they don't want you to forget your power, especially as these people try to take it from you. You know, when they are doing their yapping and their talking and their, you know, why are you doing this? This ain't right kind of stuff. Just nod your head. Okay, Grandma. Okay, Pa. Like, they're not going to understand. And there's no amount of explanation that you're going to be able to give them that's going to help them understand. So your best bet is to just fix that crown, center it, give them a nod, and be on your way. There's no desire to understand at this point. It's just them trying to bring you down. This new beginning that they're talking about is, it's love. They said, unfortunately, many of you have not experienced true unconditional love. You have not experienced having someone in your life who, on your worst days, will give you a hug and tell you that it's okay. We'll try again tomorrow. There's nobody in your life who has not expected something from you. Some sort of expectation has always hung over you. And that's why you're fed up. Because when you were a kid, you know, you were taught, oh, you know, just be yourself. You know, your gift is what matters and blah, blah, blah. And then once you started being yourself, everybody was like, oh, no, not like that. And so shame forced you to hide that part of yourself. And that part's just been hiding for a very long time. And now you're done. It's exhausting to hide it. Like they just showed me the fatigue that comes with that everyday mask that you've been putting on. And that's why you've reached this breaking point. Because you're like, I can't live in capitalism and also try to appease you people. So if I have to live in capitalism, I'm at least going to be my weird self who has my own ideas of how things should go. And quite frankly, the rest of you can just suck it. Hummingbird, love that. The hummingbird talks about presence, being here now. They don't want you to think of the past. They don't want you to think of a future that you want to work towards. Right now, you're in the trenches. You know, they're showing me you just like stuck in mud, just trying to like pull your feet as you're like moving forward. And like, you are moving forward, but it's extremely slow because the mud is really thick and it's still raining. That's where you are right now. And if it feels hard, it's because it is. They do want to say, though, that it's not going to be hard forever. This is relatively speaking, time-wise, this is a very short blip in your existence and in this path. They said, as long as you keep working, don't quit and keep circling back around, or you'll have to do it again. But as long as you keep working towards it and following your heart and doing the things that you know are right and that you feel are right, then you're good. Don't ruminate. They said as you're moving through this, there's a lot of things that are going to become uncovered, such as like how you were treated, you know, realizing, oh, I do this because, you know, Mom taught me this and that was really not the best, and I'm really mad at Mom because why did she teach me this? I could have saved so much heartache. We're not doing that. Hummingbird says right here, right now, okay? If you spend a lot of time going back and thinking negatively on things, that's where you're going to put a lot of your energy, and we're not putting it there. It's already happened. The person who hurt you is not going to be the person to heal you, so don't try to think of ways to make that work. Just think of ways to make in here work for now. Now they said that's not to say that you can't acknowledge it. You can, oh, okay, that's why I do this, because Mom was taught this and she taught me this. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't get to choose our emotions, but we do get to choose if they continue in the emotionally triggering cycles, or if we say, hey, I get it, that was not right, it's okay to feel this way, but I'm not here to sit in that feeling. I'm here to acknowledge what happened, acknowledge why, and then move forward. So the biggest thing with that is they don't want the ruminating. They wanted me to look at the bottom of the deck on this one here, and we've got the Coyote Spirit, which talks about trusting in divine detours. They said that because of how rigid the family structure was for you as a child, there is this need to control everything. You feel like you have to plan 16 moves ahead. You have extreme hyper awareness, feeling like I have to be aware of everything, and if I'm not, and if I miss something, then someone's going to, I'm going to fail somebody. They said there's going to be a lot of things that are really going to trigger that thought process over the next few months. And they said that's the goal, is to trigger that thought process. They said the triggers are the keys. You don't have to be hyper aware 24/7. You are not in charge of the world. You are not in charge. Honestly, you're not in charge of a lot. And while some people are very terrified by that thought, they want you to look at it as a blessing. Okay? They said, we've got all of this behind the scenes here. We've got it all squared away for you. All you have to worry about is following your heart and doing what feels right in here. They are going to initiate a lot of moments over the next few months where plans, big plans, are going to be interrupted. And that's because it is time for you to learn how to deal with that and how to be able to be in the moment and say, okay, I'm disappointed. Acknowledge your emotions. They're there. You cannot decide what they are, but you do decide how you react with them. Disappointment is fine. How am I going to go forward with this? Am I going to ball up that anger and throw it at the next person who looks at me funny? Am I going to go outside, do some grounding techniques, give it to the earth? Am I going to talk to my guides, ask them why? Am I going to go make something creative? They said creative outlets are great. The goal right now is to learn how to deal with that disappointment. They said that they showed me layers of this. This is a big layered thing right now. Ooh, interesting. They said that there's going to be a few opportunities where this is going to be mutual disappointment, like big plans that are going to fall through not only for you, but for your family. So you're going to get to visually see how they deal with the disappointment, and then you're going to see, because you'll have had practice by the time this one comes around, you'll get to see how you have learned to deal with this disappointment. So they said that's going to be a really big moment for you, because you're going to have the visualization of, oh, I remember when I used to act that way when things like this would happen. And you're going to have that moment of, oh my gosh, I have grown so much as a person. And you're going to be really proud of yourself. And your guides want you to know that you should sit in that as long as you can. That pride, that gratefulness, because it's a lot of work that's going to get you there. And they don't want you to undercut that for yourself. Okay. We got the influence card. And once again, they're talking about how your family is going to be curious in the end. They're going to, in the beginning, of course, they're going to try to cut you down like we talked about. But ultimately, there's a curiosity, and they said it's almost a quiet curiosity. They said they showed me like you in your house, like doing something, and then them kind of like peeking through the windows, and then the second you're like, what? And you look, and then they all duck because they don't want you to see that they're curious. But they're curious. They're gonna be like, wow, who is this person? Because you're doing the things that they could never do. The layers of shame is just so perpetuating in them. Like, they gave me emotions, and they were like, add words to these. It's almost like the shame of not doing what they feel is right in their heart adds to the shame that made them not do what felt right in their heart. So it's just burying them, just like, piles and piles and piles of it. And so for you to be able to like just throw all of that off, they're gonna be in awe. Yeah. Balance. We got the balance card, which of course, that's what we're going through here, is learning how to get rid of the parts that are not serving us and keep the parts that were important, because Spirit says we don't want to tell you that everything that they taught you is wrong, because there's a lot of things that they taught you that are important and that you do need to keep close to your heart. But unfortunately, there's a lot more that you need to just on out. Okay. Air elements. That makes sense. When I was shuffling, they showed me the vision of you sitting under a tree, like just peacefully sitting there. Like it wasn't meditation style or anything like that. It was just the act of being and being outside and getting in touch with nature. And then we drew the air element card. So they're telling me that there's a lot of the element of air is going to help when it comes to clearing and releasing. They gave me a few options. They said breathing exercises. Go find some sort of breathing exercising that works for you. They mentioned like box breath, so feel free to go Google any sort of breathing exercise. There's some that will like take you to space. There's some that will take you to the earth. Find whichever one you need. Find a combination of both. Do that. They talked about aromatherapy. If you're a smells person, somebody who's like really activated by smells, if smells can trigger memories in you, then they said you would really benefit from doing like aromatherapy kind of things, or like lighting incense and maybe like journaling while you're smelling, something like that. Just the smell activates things in you. And then the last one that they talked about too was just being able to say things that you weren't able to say before, because our breath is activated by the air passing over our vocal cords. So they wanted to integrate this into the throat chakra kind of stuff, like just being able to, in situations where maybe normally you would have said yes, even if you didn't want to say yes, work on saying a very quiet no. They wanted me to tell you the quote, speak your truth even if your breath shakes. It's a really good one. Okay, and then we've got the solar plexus here. So solar plexus is just personal power. Yeah, and then the solar plexus card came out on the sun that's in the reverse here, and they said that that's how you're going to reverse that sun card, is by embracing that personal power, bringing that to the surface. And they said the two things coincide, so being able to vocalize your truths is going to be a big shift in how you view yourself and how you feel your power. There's going to be this big realization too that these people who you thought have had so much power over you don't have any power over you at all. It's all just an idea of power. Nobody can make you do anything. Nobody can make you do anything. It's one of those harsh realities that we have to face as we get older. So on the path of nobody can make you do anything, tracking down your own fears and your own desires, okay? So a lot of the fears that are within you have been instilled. They're not actually fears that you have. Are you really scared of not having a family? Are you really scared of not having 12 kids? Are you really scared of not having a house? Maybe you're completely fine with the idea of RV life. Maybe you just wanted solo travel, backpack across Europe. The idea of what stability is from person to person is going to vary because what each person to person wants is different. So they really want you to assess your fears and think about, are these actually fears that I have, or are these fears that I've been taught because of the capitalistic hellscape that I live in? Okay. But also, it's true. You know, the society that we live in, the systems that are in place, unfortunately affect how we parent our kids. And if your parents were taught that this is an important part of existing, then they're going to teach you that it's an important part of existing. But things are changing. Things are shifting. The ways that our parents and parents were taught, grandparents were taught how to live and exist in these systems are falling away. They're no longer a part of who we're becoming as a species. And that's why it's important for you to work towards finding not only your fears, but your desires. There was two parts to this card. We're looking at our fears to make sure that they're actually valid fears, and then we're looking at our desires to make sure that they're actually valid desires. Do you really want to go work a 9 to 5? Do you really want to go paid $12 an hour? Do you want to have roommates? Do you want to do these things that you were taught that you wanted to do? These two things piggyback. Often our fears propel our desires. We have a desire because we fear not having it. We fear not having what we, I'm going to school because I don't want to be dumb. I'm going to a good job because I don't want to not have money. Like, our desires are often fueled because of the things that we fear. So uncovering both of these things is going to they showed me like this the dark forest of trees, and then all of a sudden a path cleared, and then the sun was shining. So your path will be revealed to you as you start asking yourself these questions. Do I really want this? Do I really fear this? They said feel free to write all of this down as you sit under the tree and listen to the wind. We've got a few more cards here. They wanted me to fill in these two places right here. One of these days I'll have a setup where you guys can see the cards too, but for now, just me. Okay, Passion is the card that we've got, and Passion is going over here with the solar plexus and the High Priestess, because a lot of your passion has been taken from you. The survival state was what was taught to you. You were taught how to survive, not to thrive. And we're shifting that narrative. You're not here just to breathe and then die. You know that you have things that you need to accomplish. You know that you have expressions that can only be brought about by you. And you know that if you leave the planet without sharing any of those, you'll have wasted your whole life. So you're looking for your passions, and they said that once again, finding out those fears and figuring out what you desire is going to help instill a new sense of passion in you. And then we've got the Cave here. Cave asks you to protect yourself as you go through this. We're going back to, we're full circle in this, going back to the beginning when we talked about distancing yourself from people. Those who are in your life who don't deserve to be in your life, as you go through this, you're allowed to let them leave. With the way that the energetic currents work, if somebody is important to your life path, if somebody has to be a part of a certain part of your life, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. They're not going to miss their cue. Like that's not how things work here. Don't fear, okay? They said now we know that thought can't help with the emotional taxes that come with it. It is very difficult when, parental figures have conditions for their love. It causes a lot of trauma, it causes a lot of confusion, and it causes a lot of self-doubt moments, but none of that is a reflection of you, and all of it is a reflection of them. The last thing that they wanted me to look at was the bottom of the deck, and we've got the Volcano card here, which is personal power. I mean, they lined it up with the solar plexus for me. You are claiming your power. And they said you are very well aware of the fact that it's going to cause a lot of waves. The storm doesn't move through the ocean without disturbing the surface. Okay. They wanted me to talk about the storm because they said some of you associate storms with a negative connotation. Okay, so when I said the storm, a lot of you envisioned big, dark clouds and thunder and lightning and wind and damage and just all of the negatives associated with the storms. But the storm also brings transformation. It brings change. It brings renewal. It brings the rains. The storm is only a negative thing if you view it as a negative thing. There are countries that literally have festivals for the rainy seasons because that's their lifeline. They said once again, this is cycling back around to acknowledging legitimate fears that you hold in your heart and taught fears that were taught because of what we live in, okay? They wanted me to just pull one more card out of this here for y'all. Yeah, you're not for everyone. Welcome to the club. You're not for everyone. And we've got Jupiter here. They wanted me to mention that Jupiter is on this card here. There's a weirdness about you. And growing up, we were taught that weird is a bad word. You should go look it up in the dictionary, actually, because I do believe that it's legitimately I can't remember it exactly, but it's something along the lines of just not doing what everybody else does. I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's not bad to be weird. In fact, your weirdness is needed right now because, like I said at the beginning of this, Earth is shifting, Earth is changing, our society is shifting and changing. We're dying to become a species that lives to live, to be able to create and to grow and to move leisurely through life. There's no reason for us to run this race that we've been running anymore. We've done it long enough. But we need people who are not scared to be weird, who are not scared to say these things, who are not scared to say, no, I don't dream of a job because I don't dream of labor. Like, we need people like you to stand up and to say that it's okay to be different. It's okay to do things differently. The world is not going to end if we decide that working 4 days a week is actually probably enough work, okay? I brought it back around to that because it's hard to, the information moves so fast through my head, it's kind of hard to like put all the pieces together at the same time. But trust me when I say that you doing whatever weird, beautiful thing that calls to you is literally a step towards changing this entire system. Please believe me. Please believe your spirit team. Please believe all of the guides. It literally is as easy as letting your most authentic self shine. That's it. That is all we have to do. Okay? Personal power is coming to you. It's waited for you long enough. That's what I have. I hope that it helped, and I hope that you let your weirdness just blossom for all of us, because you can't leave us without it. Like, it would be unfair if you took all that adorable weirdness with you when you left, okay? So, shine for the world.